Good evening, y'all. I'm back in the kitchen to make the Texas sweet trash. It is yummy. So we're going to get it going. I told y'all when I made the regular Chex yesterday that the next thing I was going to make was the sweet one. And so it takes a box of rice Chex, a box of corn Chex, a box of Crispix, 2 pounds of pecans, some Karo syrup or some white corn syrup, a pound of butter, 2 pounds of brown sugar. I told y'all that it was not a diet food, it's a holiday celebration food. And you don't make a meal out of it, you use it for a dessert or a snack. It's lots of calories, but it's very, very good. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my pot and get everything in it that has to cook on the stove. And we're going to put our pound of butter in here. I told y'all I like to get a bite of this one and a bite of the just the Texas Chex Mix, because one of them's spicy and kind of salty, and then this one's sweet. It's so good. This makes a really, really good gift to buy those little tins, and at the dollar store they're $1.29 to put some in it for a gift for friends. It's good. Then we need a 2-pound bag or 2 pounds of, I use light brown sugar, but you can use whatever you prefer. I don't know, time that melts, I think this pot will be big enough. I may have to pour it over in another pot, I don't know. And I need to measure out 1 cup of the Karo. And it's not Karo brand, in fact I think this is from Aldi. No, this is from Kroger. But it's white corn syrup. Let me get a spatula where I can get it all out. Richard came today after Sunday school and had lunch with us and took him some Chex Mix home. Glad Papa left him some. I had a huge bag of Chex Mix. So there was plenty. Now this needs to come to a boil, and then it's going to need to simmer for about 5 minutes. And I've got to I'll turn that on low for now. Because in my roasting pan that I did my other Chex Mix in, I'm going to pour all of my ingredients so I can toss them, and then you put it on a cookie sheet and heat it in the oven just like we did the other one. You toast it. So there's my Crispix, and they are a mixture of corn and rice cereal. That's what they are. And a box of the rice Chex. And a box of corn Chex. And it makes a bunch. I'm going to toss my cereal and then I'll add my pecans. Isn't it amazing how one thing will just taste so different just with the flavors you put on it? Rice Chex, corn Chex yesterday was savory. Today it's going to be sweet and delicious. Okay, now I will add in some pecans. My bunch of the broken stuff in the bottom. Got that done, and I've got this over here warming to a melt. So I'm gonna work here on my brown sugar and Cairo and butter and get it melted, and then I can time it for 5 minutes. So I'll be right back when this gets all melted, and we'll let it come up to a boil, and we'll get our syrup made to pour over our cereal mixture. Okay, my brown sugar and butter and syrup are just about all combined and ready to bring it to a boil. But I forgot to tell you that you need to pound with our kitchen spray or non-stick a couple of cookie sheets, and I went ahead and did 3 just in case I need them, because you spread it on here and put it in the oven for an hour, and you stir it every few minutes till it's dry. And it may take a little bit longer depending on the humidity, and till it's like the other Chex Mix, it's dry and crunchy. So I've got my pans ready, and I'm going to check my sugar mixture again over here and see what it's doing. I see 2 little bitty strips of butter that hadn't melted, but it's just about there. The prep time is not really what's bad, it's stirring it while it cooks that takes your time, while it cooks in the oven. I told y'all that when April was working as a pharmacist at the Walgreens in Cleveland, there was another pharmacist there, Galen, and his wife would make this, and he would bring it and share with his colleagues. So that's how we got the recipe. And so we've been making it now for several years, and it's one of April's favorites. So she'll be glad to know I'm making some of Galen's Chex Mix, the Texas Sweet Trash. I'll be glad when it's done. Let's look at this again. If you missed the video that I did, and it came out Saturday, of the Texas Chex Mix, I'll link the video below where you can watch it. It's good. It's spicy and savory, and you can up the spice or down the spice to please your palate. We like it. So I'm going to turn the camera off again, and when this starts boiling, I'll bring the camera over there and show y'all, and I'm going to have to let it simmer for 5 minutes, and then I'll get on with the show, and we'll have us some sweet Chex Mix here after a while. Okay, it's starting to bubble a little bit, but it's not a full rolling boil. But I've been stirring it pretty regularly because I don't want it to stick. And I've got it just on a medium heat because I didn't want it to roll up and start boiling over on me. Okay, I'm going to set my timer for 5 minutes, and I'll be back to show y'all what we got going. Okay, now the recipe card says to simmer it, so it's not a real rolling boil, it's just a gentle simmering boil. So that's what's going to go for 5 minutes. And I'm going to stand right here and stir it regularly until it gets through with the timing that was allotted. When I'm stirring something like this at the stove, I like to use a wooden spoon, because if I walk away and leave my handle does not conduct heat, so I can just pick my handle back up and work. So I like to use a wooden spoon most of the time when I'm cooking, whether it's just vegetables or what. I'll use my wooden spoons because the handle don't get hot and I don't have to worry about burning my hand. That's just an extra little tidbit I'll give y'all today. Okay, we've got about 30 seconds left on this, and so I'm going to move the camera and get y'all set up where you can be over there when I'm pouring it over the cereal and tossing it to coat it really well. Get me a rag on my butcher block. My hands are not very strong, so here's the deal. I'm going to have to help myself here. And I'm going to pour some and stir it, and then I'm going to pour some more. This is a silicone spatula, so the heat won't bother it, and I can get all of that goodie out of there. You just have to keep moving it. You can tell where it's gumming together. And so you just keep moving it to try to get some of all of the cereal coated with it, with your flavor. I'm finding big piles of it on the bottom. And when you think you've about got it mixed, then you can divide it on your cookie sheets and stir it some more. But they're so shallow that you need to try to have it pretty well coated before you get it on there, because it does hop overboard on them. I think I pretty well got it coated. I'm going to try digging it out with a spatula where I can scrape the bottom. And you want to separate it as well as you can. Because you're not making clumps. You actually want it where you can pick you up some pieces. Now it is going to clump together some. It always does, but... Y'all, we don't splurge and have all this stuff year-round. This is something we look forward to, celebrating Christmas and having that birthday party for Jesus. Gotta have the best of the best to celebrate his birthday. He deserves the best. Okay, there's one. And I'm going to go ahead and put it in the oven. I'm going to put my oven, actually going to put it on convection to help me, but I did the other one just in the regular, on a regular bake yesterday. I'm just trying to get through because I want to make some cookies. This week I'm working 4 days and then school's out Friday. So I only have to work through Thursday, or I should say I only get to work through Thursday. I'm thankful to be able to earn some extra money. Okay, see if this other will spread on the last cookie sheet, and I'll have it all in the oven and cook it. One more to go. It says a couple of cookie sheets, but it's always took 3 for me. And these are the big sheet pans, actually. They're not just a normal little cookie sheet. You need that rim on the edge to hold it in the pan. And the reason you can't do it in this big pan, it just clumps together too bad. You have to be able to stir it around. I don't know who comes up with all these recipes. I'm not brave enough to risk losing a bunch of good ingredients trying to create something, so I just copy somebody else's idea. Put the rest of them in there. And see, I've got some pieces of my sugar stuff that's getting hard there. I have to. Okay, I'm going to get the third one in the oven. And then I'll stir them every little bit, and I'll show y'all along the way. I'm going to cut that down just a snitch, and I'll be back. I wanted to show y'all when you bring it out to stir it, because it's been heated and all that syrup has been melted. See, you can stir it and it's not so clumpy, and the ones that didn't get anything on them are more likely to get some on it as you're stirring it around. Now, as the oven makes it all solidify on the pieces, it'll get crunchy and dry, and it'll be delicious. Now, I put 2 pounds of pecans in mine. The recipe don't call but for a pound, but the pecans are my favorite part, so I added extra pecans to mine. Okay, and I sprayed my spatula that I'm using with Pam too. Okay, now I'm going to put, this is pan number 1. Take out the second one and stir it, and then we'll get one off the bottom. I probably should have done it first and should have maybe rotated them. I don't know. Now, sometime this week, I hope to make those Nutter Butter balls that's dipped in chocolate. And I think the main thing you'll need, because some of you were wanting to know ingredients, get you a package of Nutter Butter cookies, and you're going to need the chocolate bark to dip it in. And I'll glance at the recipe again and see if there's anything major that you're going to need. But basically, what I wouldn't have on hand that goes in it is Nutter Butter cookies. I'm going to swap these. I'm going to trade places. Need to get me a new timer. That one is getting old, and when I punch and punch and punch, it still don't set. Yeah, some of this was already getting pretty brown. I'll just have to watch it and take it. Don't let it stay on the bottom one as long. Okay, I'm going to put it back in there, but on a different shelf this time. In about 5 minutes, I'm going to take that one off of the bottom and rotate it. Okay, y'all, this is several stirs, but you can see that it's not as goopy with a bunch of syrup as it was. It's drying. Now, let me just tell you, you have to babysit this, and you have to stir it. I'm stirring it every 7 to 8 minutes because I've got all 3 trays in the oven at the same time, and I don't want the one on the bottom to burn. So I'm taking it out because I showed y'all a while ago it got too dark. So I'm leaving it on the top and swapping these other 2 from the bottom to the middle. But it's not far from being done. So I'll bring y'all back in just a minute when it's all finished. Okay, y'all, one at a time, I'm putting them in the pan here. Cool, and I hope they're dry enough. And as it cools, I'm just going to come back around and stir it and try to keep it from sticking together as it cools. Let me stir this pan that's on the stove, and I'll probably just leave it in its cookie sheet for now, because that one's too full for me to keep it stirred. Well, I just talked to April and told her what I was making, and she said, oh, yum. So she'll be wanting her bag of it to take with her, too. I like making goodies at Christmas because it makes everybody happy and smile. Now, I know this one's fattening with all that brown sugar and butter in it, but it's yummy. So you can just get you a little bit at a time. I've got some more stuff coming up. I'm going to try to make some after work each day this week. But if not, I'll be off starting Friday, and I'll get some goodies for y'all to make. I'm going to make cookies, and that's basically butter, flour, and sugar, nuts. I've got one that takes dates and oatmeal, and one that takes raisins, the dark raisins. Then I'm planning to make some fruitcake cookies, and that takes the glazed, or however you say that, the fruitcake, cherries, red and green, and some pineapple if you want to buy that. And I think they have dates in them too, chopped dates. So that's the only thing that maybe you wouldn't have in your pantry. Basically what I cook, it has basic stuff in it. You're going to need walnuts or pecans. That makes it better. And I hope to make a fruit cake, and I might make a no-bake fruit cake. I haven't done that in several years, and Troy likes that. And it has maraschino cherries in it. So if I make it, we'll need some maraschino cherries in that one. But I'll be back in a day or two with something else that we're making for Christmas. And there's a guy that I follow on Facebook. His name is Alan Lammey, Lammey. And he's worked in the energy sector for 20-something years, and he basically predicts the weather. I don't know what his job definition is, but I know he's always right. And he is saying that the entire state of Texas is going to be cold, cold, cold during Christmas, starting around the 19th into 2 weeks into January. And we possibly could have a white Christmas. That would be wonderful. But we're going to have cold, cold weather. Could be similar to what we had last February. So you have to wait until we get, he said, more clarity. But it is going to be brutally cold and lots of snow all over the northern United States. So I am thankful for our fireplace in the den and our wood heater in the sunroom. We can stay warm if the lights go out because the wires are too heavy or whatever. And I've got plenty of food for us to eat, so we're going to be okay. But if y'all are anywhere around here, heads up, start making provision for your animals, and make sure your propane tank's full, make sure your water pipes are protected, your water well if you're in the country, because we're fixing to see some very cold weather that we're not accustomed to. And a freeze in your cars, your tractors, and whatever needs it. There's a lot to be done. Get your plants in, start ahead of time where you won't just say, oh shoot, I'll just let them freeze because you're overwhelmed and can't get it all done. Start now. You got a week before it's even supposed to start getting. He said around the 9th. No, around the 19th. So that's after next. Well, we got all this week to work on it. And then the coldest part won't be here then. It'll just be coming our way. So I hope we have a white Christmas. I wouldn't mind that one bit. But then I don't know about my son coming in from Dallas because it's going to be icy and cold. So we'll just have to wait and see. Might be a whole different kind of Christmas. But you know what? If plan A don't work, go to plan B and just enjoy and make sweet memories. Don't forget to wish Jesus a happy birthday and remember the one that the season is all about. Hadn't been for him, we wouldn't be having Christmas because he was the greatest gift that the world ever received. So put him in the middle of all of your celebration and all of your stuff. Don't forget him. And I'll be back in a day or two with something else good to eat. The good Lord bless y'all. Keep you warm and safe. Makes you goodies. Share them with your family. And come right back here and watch Apron Strings, and maybe you'll learn a new recipe.